and Periscope. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment.
We also want to remind you that we, stakeholders of Wayne County, must keep aware of COVID-19 pandemic. Let's work together and remind each other to keep practicing all established COVID-19 protocols: social distancing, wearing masks, wash your hands, use proper sanitizers and cleaning products.
All right, Dr. Fishta.
Dr. T, here we are.
Oh my
Beautiful
gosh.
evening in Detroit.
Yes, the weather has been so nice. Can you believe it?
I love it.
Yes,
Love
I
it.
even went out today. Now, most people don't do this anymore, but I went out. I swept my front porch. I swept my
Already?
walkway. Yes, I put my little lanterns out on my front porch and my little patio set. So I am ready to sit out and sip on some lemonade this summer.
I hear you. And
Yeah.
the lakes are about to become alive again.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Hopefully I can get out there on that boat with you
Oh,
and
you
your
got it.
beautiful wife again this year.
Yes, looking forward to it.
So today we have a very special guest, very near and dear to my heart. We have the Math King Jabbar that is with us all the way from Ohio. Jabbar and I actually went to high school together.
I read his bio. What's Jabbar doing in Ohio? He not only he leaves Detroit, but he plays football for Ohio when he's in college, and he knows how we feel about all that.
Yeah, right. How you gonna be from Michigan and then go all the way to Ohio to play for against our own rivals? What kind of stuff is that, Jabbar?
I don't think we can hear him.
Give us 1 second because we can't hear you. Let us make sure that our connections are perfectly in sync, and we will make sure that
They're working in the back. We can see them.
Oh, so they're saying that they can hear you. Everybody else can hear you that's live, but we can't hear you in the studio. So let me try to remedy that really quick, and hopefully I can. If not, then we will probably have our engineer, our station manager come in and assist us with that situation. But let's go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about you. He knows. Okay, I don't know. I didn't hear any of that.
So anyway, we're going to be talking about math today.
Yes, we are.
And Jabbar teaches math. I don't know why someone would want to teach math, but let me tell you a little story before we get to Jabbar as they're working in the back. I have this friend of mine also who's a math teacher, Jabbar.
It's on his end.
Okay, it's probably on your end something there, Jabbar, the engineer is saying. So, and Dr. T, I asked my friend, I said, what is it that makes you want to be a math teacher? Sometimes kids don't like the math teachers and it's hard work, right? To my knowledge. And he said when he was in 5th grade, he failed math and he had to take summer class math. And this one, he said, basically, he will never fail in math again. And hence, he became a math teacher. So I'm interested to ask Jabbar, how does one become a math teacher out of all things that we could do? And clearly, there's a lot of challenges right now with teaching teachers and kids and everything else. So can't wait to get to him.
Right. So Jabbar, tell us, how did you become a math teacher? What motivated you to actually get into this field, especially when we have so many Black males that don't really engage in a lot of math and science? So how did you get your start with math or teaching math? Right. So, Jabbar, tell us, how did you become a math teacher? What motivated you to actually get into this field, especially when we have so many black males that don't really engage in a lot of math and science? So, how did you get your start with math or teaching math? So let me ask this question. I've seen you do these math videos that you do for your students, and you have so much energy and really engage the students. How did you come up with that type of platform to do the videos, and why did you feel a need to do it? I've seen you do these math videos that you do for your students, and you have so much energy and really engaged. Math videos that you do for your students, and you have so much energy and okay, okay. So can you get him on the phone? Is it possible? Yeah. I'm gonna do one thing really quick, Jabbar, because we can't hear you in the studio. So I'm going to give you a call on the phone really quick so that we can actually hear you in the studio. You have your cell phone nearby? Okay. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You know how technology is. Sometimes things happen, but bear with us because guess what? We always have a backup plan and we are always prepared and professional around here. So we're going to get Jabbar on the line really quick and we're going to continue our conversation.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Clearly. But we're probably going to have some feedback um, just because of the platform that we're doing right now. And we do apologize for that, everyone, if you are hearing some reverb going on.
Yep. So, Jabbar, we couldn't hear you from our side. Did you answer Dr. T's question there about the reasons why you do the video, or in your classes or others?
Yeah. Well, what I reiterate. I saw that it it had value to kids, and I would do it in my classroom. From the beginning of my educational career, I would put little messages on the board, and when students when I didn't put it on the board, students would say, "Hey, man, you didn't leave a message today." So I know that they were being viewed, being valued, and I just wanted to expand to a broader audience, and touch more people. So what better way to do that than to enlarging your platform?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jabbar, how are you doing with this whole COVID-19 and teaching? I know there's been lots of concerns, issues, and an ever-changing environment, so to speak.
It's been a struggle for everyone. So I think I was willing to accept that early, and then it made me more. I want to say adapting with the kids. I was more empathetic to them. I was more sympathetic with them. I was just able to understand their concerns because I was going through it on with my kids. So it helped. And then I was able to build a relationship with them. Some of them, still trying to build that relationship with many of them. But then you can teach. Then you're able to reach, because you have like now these obstacles happen every day in the classroom when we're remote. So you have to find a way to get around it.
Absolutely. Now, what's the biggest challenge that you are seeing versus teaching in the classroom and doing it online? What's the biggest challenge that you are seeing for yourself as a teacher, and then as well for your students?
So there are many, and hopefully I do a good job of just picking the biggest, but there are many. So one, and most of the biggest ones are ones that you have no control of or control over. So, the technology issues and the consistency is the most. Well, we had changes, and I think the kids, it takes them a while to get in a pattern. We're kind of creatures of habit, and our kids really couldn't establish a rhythm, a habit in that remote setting. Now this is our first week all back in, and now I can compare, and it's the consistency, it's the being able to, nothing replaces presence, physical presence. So just being there, and you can actually see facial expressions. You can hear tones better. It's just more, when you're teaching, those things matter. My pitch, my gestures, it matters. So you were not able to fully reach all kids because they had to really reach out as well. And maybe that's the biggest thing. A lot of responsibility thrown at the kids.
Now, Jabbar, the standardized testing very quickly becomes a problem for kids, parents, and teachers. And that prompts the question, are the children being held, number one, at the same standards? And number two, was the content actually delivered for them to perform, so to speak, in these standardized tests?
So I'll give you a great political teacher answer first, and then I'll explain.
Okay.
The content is the same. The content was there, right? And you can deliver it at that same pace. Now, will it be received that same way? No, absolutely not. Because once again, there was more responsibility on the student, maybe more than ever before, because they had to show some assertiveness, and they had to show some initiative. They had to do things themselves, but without someone kind of holding your hand. You're at a lot of I'm a high school teacher, so a lot of our kids are home by themselves. Doing that, and they have to get up, get on, log in, stay logged in. Not just put a screen up and do whatever. So it was a lot of responsibility. All of a sudden, you had to kind of mature. And some kids were able to, and others were great Dodgers.
Well, with that being said, let's take a station break really quick.
Awesome.
You are watching In Session on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment.
Also, we want to remind you that we stakeholders of Wayne County must keep aware of COVID-19 pandemic. Let's work together and remind each other to keep practicing all established COVID-19 protocols, including social distancing, wearing masks, washing your hands, and using proper sanitizers and cleaning products.
Yeah.
So,
And we're speaking with Jabbar, the math king, or the math king Jabbar.
The math guru, I called him earlier.
Oh, see, we're changing your whole name, Jabbar. You're now the math guru. How about that?
Jabbar, a lot of parents, and you're a parent yourself, they ask this question. Number one, will my child be able to perform into standardized testing? And number two, here comes next year, and hopefully this COVID-19 slowly goes away. Did they miss a year of knowledge, so to speak, or parts of that? Will they make up for this, the children?
So again, if they're willing to, yes, you can. The opportunity is there, but you got to put in the work. So, will the scores be the same? No, because we have more time, more consistency. You're comparing 5 days a week to 2 days a week, or 2.5. Mm-hmm. So, and it's impossible to cover that same content unless you just speed teaching. And who's going to be? What are you going to retain with that? So no, I don't think immediately. Like, there's testing coming. It's April. This should be interesting to see the scores. Mm-hmm. What I know they're going to be low, but I want to see if they're going to be consistently low throughout the state, the nation. Mm-hmm. I want to see a comparison to the schools that were all in at the beginning of the year to who were not, because it's impossible unless students do more work at home. It's impossible to keep that same pace. 5 to 2.
I would like to invite our audience to join the conversation by calling in at 313-355-6018. Again, that number is 313-355-6018. If you have any questions for the Math King Jabbar, or now titled the Math Guru Jabbar, by Dr. Fishta. But we are talking about students learning, motivating students in an online environment. And Jabbar has done such a wonderful job in this sector. And we just had to have him on the show because those videos really kind of hit home.
Yep.
My godson is the one who actually was like, hey, who's this guy? So I was like, hey, I went to school with him. And I had to keep looking because you look a little different than you did in high school. You actually look a little slimmer now than you. I don't know. No.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't have to be a big linebacker no more.
And we'll talk about that too, your football days and all that. But right now, children are at home. We have parents that are trying to find someone to monitor their children while they're in home because they have to possibly, go to work so that the family can thrive.
Absolutely.
Well, has this been a big challenge?
Yeah,
well, go ahead.
Many of them, to extend to Dr. T's question, Jabbar, as you well know, many of them have gone back to school, and then you get a kid who gets COVID, and then you get 50 kids out of school for a portion of the week or 2 or 3, and then they start to return, and then in another area there is another COVID case. It's just very, very inconsistent. So what's the impact, with all this challenging?
Right, and on the students' learning, pretty much.
Man, I want to say it's a huge impact because I feel like I keep drilling that, emphasizing this point. It's and then I'm going to expand on it. One, the work at home is essential And if you're just doing the work at home to maintain, where's the extras coming in to excel?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that's what we fell victim of, just trying to come home from work and keep my son and my daughter current. Just to stay current took 3 hours or what have you. It took all your energy. So when do you ever get a chance to get ahead? When can I give? I'm a math teacher and I can't even do math extras. Can't give them extras at home. No enhancers. So I'm going to say it definitely is going to impact. And we all need to understand that. And let's dig in the trenches and get better.
Right. And do you
can't ignore it.
Right. And do you think, I know for me, math has always been one of my biggest challenges. You probably know, since we had math classes together in high school. Shout out to Mr. Bradford from Bradford High School. Oh, yeah. So we were able to go to our teacher if we needed help with a problem. How are students able to do that in an online environment?
Now, so that's the one thing that I can say opened up, because we kind of spread our classes out a little bit, and because you had a little bit of extra time, and to cater to also the kids not getting up extremely early. We built in what do you want to call it? What was our basically study time?
Mm-hmm.
I was available. So, and in college, what we call office hours. I had an hour here, a block here, jump in. You can get some one-on-one helps. Obviously, Zooms have breakout rooms. So there are opportunities. Obviously, it wouldn't be face-to-face, but Zoom to Zoom, there are plenty of opportunities to catch an available teacher for assistance. We have time when you're remote.
Well, that's good to know.
Good. Jabbar, how about social disparities come into play here? Because this obviously has to do with the means, so to speak. And there are many folks may not have, again, the means to help their children in a meaningful way. And again, here comes this standardized testing. So I want to address that first. And the next part of it is, to your knowledge, given that you are connected with universities as well, are the universities holding the children this year coming up with the same standard scores as they were before?
Now that's interesting. Universities, absolutely, they are. They're full go. You know, if you were remote all year, you're still expected to do the same level of output as if you were in school. So they haven't changed their guidelines, and it's interesting. We have like I am, and a faculty member of Central Ohio State. So we teach college classes in the high school. So now this year I don't have one, but those who are teaching it maintain their standards. We're gonna set that, and they made held the kids accountable for it. So if they're not, they set those, and the rules. So I'm interested to see their scores. Whereas the other ones had built-in excuses, kind of. And I know when I was a kid, if you're going to give me that excuse, I'm going to use it.
Oh, I definitely have to agree with that. Now, I know here in Michigan, they are moving students into the classroom. Are they doing the same thing in Ohio, where you have children that are going to the building to be taught, or is it still strictly online in Ohio? And what is this climate of the teachers? Are they willing to go back into the classroom or not?
Well, so I'll give you a synopsis of our year. We started off remote, and then we went to like a hybrid where we rotated students in. We had a blue and a green group, just to split them down, kind of down the middle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So they would go Monday. They would go every other day, basically. So we have, and even when we did remote, we have been in the building all year. We started off with a slow group, maximum classroom size of 16. And you know what? I got to throw this in there. Right before Thanksgiving or something, because of the cases when it rise, we did go back to remote. And just as of this week, we've been full go, all in.
Oh wow. And none of the teachers are complaining about it, or what's the climate with the teachers?
I mean, there's always fear, but because we did have the hybrid before that, you had half of your students, and like I think 80% of the teachers are vaccinated. You know, you have, and we see. So we've been there. We've had students come in. We've had cases go. The outbreak has not spread it like in your classroom as if how you would think with our 6 feet distance. If someone had it, someone else maybe next to them, if they were past 15 minutes, would have to quarantine. But we didn't have a whole class like absent because of quarantine. So the issue was somewhat controllable. Still inconsistency here and there, but somewhat, it was functionable. So I think that gave us some confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the first week, so we'll see. But
Okay.
And we're 3 feet now with masks. So it's interesting.
Yep, the new
I think
CDC
the
guidelines.
kids are more nervous than the teachers were.
Really? How is
I heard a kid today said it's too much cologne. I'm not used to smelling all this.
so they've been
Cologne right
masked
up
up so much that their senses have gotten sensitive.
Absolutely.
And I've actually noticed that as well. I was telling one of my colleagues, or maybe one of my girlfriends, that I noticed that my sense is a little bit more sensitive now. When I go out, I can smell things a little bit stronger than what I used to.
Well, my scent has fine-tuned because, as you know, my wife imports wine from Italy, and I keep smelling wine every day.
I want that problem.
Yep. So, Jabbar, I carefully read your bio, and I also spoke with Dr. T prior to starting today's session. And I can tell that you have a lot of passion for math, and it's, I think, just vital for kids to see that passion in a teacher. It engages them. It makes them want to work with you and try harder. Why do you do that? What's there? How did you come to be that way, other than being your personality? Anything else related to math and teaching in the way you do?
Man, it's interesting as you soul search and you collect all your receipts from the past. Man, I see that I look back and saw that I have been doing it all the time. I've always been encouraging, motivating, and trying to help people who I thought were either peers or kind of, I want to say, younger than me. I was always gathering kids. Now, I thought it was more from a coaching standpoint, from a sports thing, getting kids organized, but it was more of a watching kids grow and love and having passion and seeing that. There was nothing better than knowing you were a part of something great, of knowing you were a part of seeing someone who is now thriving in whatever field they want to be in, but knowing that you help set them on that path. That's just a natural feeling that I crave.
Wow.
So all awards is a passion.
It's me. So I guess it's not something I'm trying to be. I think it's just something that I am.
And I think to be an educator, you have to have a certain level of passion for what you do, because it's not an easy job. It's not a job where you're going to receive a lot of thanks and admiration, but you're going to do a lot of hard work, and you're going to meet resistance with the students as well as their parents.
How about parents?
Right.
Jabbar can tell you all about that, most likely.
And then you have the administration and
Yep.
your peers.
Yep.
So there's multiple levels that could possibly be areas of frustration. And I'm going to do a station break, and then I want you to tell us a little bit about some of the pitfalls that you experience as an educator. So you are watching or listening to In Session on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. If you would like to join the conversation, please call us at 313-355-6018. Again, that number is 313-355-6018.
And we also want to remind you that we, stakeholders of Wayne County, must keep aware of the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's work together and remind each other to keep practicing all established COVID-19 protocols: social distancing, wearing masks, washing your hands, and proper use of sanitizers and other cleaning products.
Yeah.
Jabbar, you're on.
All right. She said the frustrations. Tell you, our biggest, for me, being a coach and a former Division I athlete, the frustration for me is effort. It's the amount of effort that's that the kids want to give to you. And here's the example. There are a lot of things that will think for you right now. So a lot of our kids fight their thought is, why do I need to do this if I have something that'll do it for me?
Oh.
So that's the biggest battle that I see, and it's very frustrating because why do I need to learn my multiplication if the calculator is going to do it for me? So they're not using technology to enhance, to create. They're using it to think, and as a crutch, so to speak.
Yes, so they're using it more as a substitute for learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, I'm glad that you mentioned technology, because it seems as if technology is, like you were saying, it's taking away the motivation of the student to where they don't have to do the work. They just can put the information on Google and just get an answer.
Correct.
Well,
so that instant gratification is just in them for everything. If I can't get it right the first time, I'm not trying again. It's not worth it.
I mean, let's be honest, Jabbar. Okay, so you go do a long equation that you gotta really kind of break your brain trying to figure out. And to me, math never truly made sense after the basic math until I got to stats. In really my PhD program is when I can actually make some sense out of what I never liked to learn. I was only forced to. Any words of wisdom there for kids, parents, those listening?
Yes. Now, in reality, there are extremes. There are some ridiculous math problems. I'll give you that. However, the average math problem that may be long is teaching you several things. It's teaching you algorithms, steps, and systems to follow. If I can just follow this formula, now I can read formulas in other places and other things. It's also teaching you, when you don't get it right, you try again. It's teaching you rigor. Now, here's my example from that. I had a mechanic working on my brakes, taking them off. And this particular, I watched him do it, tried at least 6 or 7 different approaches to get this one particular piece off of the brakes. He knew it could come off. I'm not doing it right. Let me try again. And I thought it was just so amazing if we can have that same work ethic, really in anything in life, but just specifically in my classroom. If I don't get it right, but let me try it again. So it teaches you to try it again, learn from your mistakes, try it again. Work ethic, system, algorithm.
And that it's a little resiliency as well.
Resiliency. Yes.
Jabbar, I come from a little country in Europe, Albania, and they always told us that math is the exercise of the brain. So I don't know how true that is, but I still feel like that's the case.
I definitely feel that way, especially when I used to have, oh my gosh, I think my worst class was probably geometry.
Oh, Jesus. What's that all about again?
Angles.
And you're about to use it as soon as you get out here and drive.
Exactly. Yeah. I hated it then. And it's amazing that I did like calculus. I wasn't good at calculus, but I still enjoyed it.
Well, it starts to make sense, though. At calculus
exactly.
levels, there is some sense in it, right? But when you talk about these complicated equations, you get these high school kids saying in algebra, why do I got to do this?
Well, I developed a passion for it because by then I was in 12th grade, and my plan, and which I did do, was to become an aeronautical engineer. So I knew I needed it.
Yep.
And so once I knew that I needed it, it became easier and it started to make sense.
Jabbar, what can you tell parents out there? And it's this math seems to be beyond many parents' ability to engage, help, learn, and practice with their children. Uh, what can you say to parents out there? How can they best help their children in math?
Well, one, I would say, and I recommend tutors. There is someone that knows, and maybe even be in your family, right? So seek help, seek assistance. Don't be. I see kids every day that say I hate math, and my mom hates math, right? So
But
then
they
all of
like
a sudden
that
I don't
money.
want to get help. If I'm already acknowledging that I hate it, well, let's get help. And then the second thing, let's stop telling kids that we hate math. Let's stop telling kids making it a monster. You may not be great at it, but there's other things that you're not great at that you don't say, hey, I hate. So we create, I think, sometimes a bad image for math. And then third thing I would say is it's not new. I think they fluff it up and do all of these other things, but it's math is fundamental. It hasn't changed. I hear this new math they're doing. It's just organizing in a different way, but it's the same math.
Okay, I don't know, Jabbar. I've tried to help my godson with his math, and I swear to God, it's new. This is not the same stuff that I did, and I'm going to tell my age here, 30 years ago. This is not the same.
Jabbar, you look at what 7th and 8th graders do in math. That makes you dizzy.
Right.
You know.
Right. I'm like, wait a minute. I sometimes I feel I don't drink too frequently, but after working with some math, I feel like I need to have a 6-pack or a bottle of wine straight to the head, because that stuff is like, it's like really Greek to me.
So also, Jabbar, Dr. T and I were both in counseling psychology and were educators as well. And often we either assess children for ADHD or assist them.
Or test anxiety. I actually had a young lady this morning that
Test
called me
anxiety,
regarding
huge
test
one.
anxiety. Yeah.
Now, you know, I really like your idea of doing the online lectures so kids can go and watch it and so forth, because some kids do better with visuals. And some kids will struggle with auditory stuff significantly. Any thoughts there that you have?
Yeah, you mentioned geometry and how horrible it was. There are many classes now like geometry that technology enhances because of the visual aspect of it. I'm not just telling you to give me the area of a triangle. We can now fill it in with other objects to actually count that area physically. So technology in that aspect helps. And if that kind of makes any sense a little bit.
It does. And I think that would have been helpful for me as a learner, because I've said this before on the show, having dyslexia and stuff kind of moves around.
Sure.
So having something that would have allowed me to fill in that space probably would have been very helpful back then.
Yep. Especially the videos that Jabbar does, right? You can go back and watch it, and you can stop it and replay it.
And they're funny.
So that gives a little bit of ownership on it. If I wonder how great I would have been if I could go back and actually rewind instead of looking through my sloppy notes that I might have had.
That's correct.
Rewind and actually hear what he's saying. So I'll tell you what,
that might be why I felt I didn't take notes.
I
saw you over there scribbling stuff down with your bald head hanging down there, and Jamar has always been bald, so ever since I know. So it's not like he cut his hair off because he was losing it. It's a look.
That's what I tell people, right? Yeah. So now, Dr. Fishta mentioned means. Eventually, those means kick in.
Mm-hmm.
The means are going to create. They're going to create I think the gap. They're going to create an even bigger gap.
Bigger gap. Yep. Yep.
Because I'll just give you a couple examples. If let's say you are a very affluent home, so now mom or dad is at home with our elementary kids to get that done. So now I am able to get enhancers because I've been here with you, and opposed to parents who have crazy work schedules, right? And now they got to come home, cook, clean, and try to help you. What kind of quality of education are you getting through that?
Yep, it's heartbreaking, Jabbar. I think we're going to see the impact of this years from now, but I'm almost certain from talking to people and seeing it firsthand in schools that these social disparities are gonna, the gap is gonna get wider, which again is very heartbreaking because we are already in trouble with that as it is.
Absolutely.
Now, you also do a training class where you educate people on implicit biases. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
That has been such an enriching class. I first took it as a student myself through the Ohio State University Irwin Institute. They identify the biases that are built in unconsciously and subliminally through media, through family, through basically our culture. So, and it's incomplete stories that we complete ourselves, and the part that we're completing are all biases. So identify them. It goes right back to the Maya Angelou quote: "If once you know better, now I can do better. Once I identify those, I can do better." But it's acknowledging that I do make preconceived thoughts that I may not know the whole truth about, and I do it on a daily basis. For all races, it's not a lot of our group students, and it's with my colleagues, it's the teachers, it's the classified personnel that are taking professional development classes that are in it. So a lot of them, one, fear that it's a black and white issue, and then two, are embarrassed at they're going to be exposed. So once we get over those hurdles, the growth is amazing. It's amazing, and you can see a lot of them come back and say, "Hey, man, I hear it now. I hear the assumptions."
And sometimes it's really just about bringing that awareness about, because you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not prejudiced. I don't have any biases," but to have lived on this earth, you have some implicit biases that you may totally just be unaware of because you haven't had the opportunity or hasn't had the opportunity to be exposed because you live in your own bubble. But once you get outside and start experiencing other people and other cultures, and I'm not just saying black and white, but we also have, if you are male and you mainly affiliate with men, you don't know how to interact with women, and vice versa for women. If you don't interact with children, you're not going to understand children as well. If you don't interact with the LGBTQ population, we all have these biases that whether we got them because of how we grew up, our environment, we learned it along the way. We all have these biases, and we all need to challenge them and realize that, you know what, we all want one thing. And that's to be freaking happy and to be left the fuck alone.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So now, Jabbar, we know you make a lot of money teaching. And our teachers, fortunately, are the wealthy people. You know, I'm not in politics, Jabbar, but I wish I could be. And I would change the priorities a bit. I go reading crazy stuff, right? I look at the highest scores in math and science in the world, and the happiest country in the world, and many other things. And we land in Finland, 4th year in a row now. And they literally score the highest in science and math, and US comes in number 19. And I looked at the reasons why. And here are a couple reasons. One is the teachers are their elite population. They pay them like lawyers and doctors, so for starters. Number two, they have 2 teachers per class. Number 3, they have about 12, 13, 14 kids per class.
But that sounds like a country that actually values education.
Correct.
For every child.
Correct.
So that to me is the
And
difference.
they appear to be the happiest, right?
Yeah.
Too. So maybe we should learn. And then people will tell me, Jabbar, well, we're a big country. Sure, but let's take city of Detroit, right? Let's take another state that is, I don't know, South Dakota with 800,000 people, right? It's not the big country, but it's the culture, I think, that it really gets us in trouble. And to go to Dr. T's points, unless we see what others are doing and hopefully to learn from them, I'm afraid we're slowly going to fall behind in some of these areas.
Yeah, but you know what? I really think that this country just overall has never valued education. If you think back, children were taken out of school because they had to work and help with the
Gets
family.
to the means, right? That we're talking.
Exactly.
That's been an issue, and that's where you get separate classes.
Right.
Class
And
separation there.
But that's and not just the class separation, but just valuing education, period. If you don't think your child needs an education and it's more important for them to work because the family needs it, you are no longer placing that value on the education.
Correct.
It's on work.
And we know from studies,
Absolutely.
Dr. T and Jabbar, right, that people who have parents who have college degrees are more likely to go to college, like the
Mhm.
children, right?
Mhm.
I mean, you shouldn't take a rocket science to figure that one out, because you assume if a parent valued education, then they're going to push their children in that direction and make that a valuable expense, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
Jabbar, can we have you put your coach hat on for a few moments here?
Okay.
Tell us, how are things with coaching going? Because I think the challenges there has been just great. I mean, too many challenges with so many things. Can you tell us about some of those challenges with
Too many challenges,
Yeah.
and it's tapering down now. I will say that it's tapering down now, but the initial challenges were really heartbreaking, because you had some kids work their way up to a certain point, and then it was just taken from them.
Mhm.
In terms of the seniors, specifically. And our school was up for the first time in a while. Was up for a championship, making it to like the Final Four of the basketball, and then it was ended for them. And nothing's guaranteed. They didn't even get close this year doing it. So a lot of dreams were shattered at the beginning,
Mhm.
and then this year easing into it. No crowd. Limited practice time, and then you had games here and there that was missed, so we hitting the consistency piece, and then just the limitations on how you could practice and how many people could be around. It affected the play, definitely, but those kids, I'm gonna say this, and this matters always, the kids that are going to thrive are going to thrive. I'm gonna go get this work in wherever I can. So you saw that disparity even more larger, that gap we were talking about.
And you have to wonder about their motivation, Jabbar, because you take a senior, a junior, what have you, and so much work to get to actually play in these teams, and there's no
Right.
one watching you. How about that?
Right. Well, that's and then it shows you, what are you playing for? Are you playing for that a lot of, so attendance was low. The kids that were there to be seen, that really didn't love the sport or love the game, didn't have that motivation to go out. So you hit that one right in the head, and you really had to ask yourself, what do I value? Do I want to do this?
So
A lot of kids said no.
So when you tell us a little bit about your career in sports, when did you first get introduced to sports, and who kept you motivated?
Well, for us, the motivation for sports for me was to get out of the hood, no doubt. And I know that my singing was the greatest. It wasn't the greatest. And I felt like then those were the options that were pushed on you. So I wasn't pushed to be a mathematician. But yet, once again, I scored the 98th percentile in the 4th grade. So I wasn't pushed. I see those biases when I look back. I wasn't pushed to be an academic star. I was able to run and show athletic skills, so I was pushed to be an athlete from an early age.
Right, and you were actually a good student because you were on an honor roll, so it wasn't like you were what people would stereotypically say is a dumb jock, even though I don't think, to be honest, you can't be a dumb jock because you have to have a certain GPA. So that right there kind of gets thrown out of the window. But you've always been a good student and someone who cared about their academic career. And it seems like football was, yes, it was there, but you really cared if you passed your classes. How?
Yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You said how what? I'm sorry.
I don't know. I forgot what I was going to
Okay,
say.
I know. I tell you what, though, it all was from the discipline of sports.
Mm.
To be honest, it was from the coaches that I had. That work ethic, the discipline, the want more, the work harder than the person next to you was built in me. Well, from my mom and my dad, obviously, but enhanced through sports and coaches. So I carried that into the classroom. And I'll be honest, I never knew everybody wasn't doing that.
Mm.
I didn't know I had no idea that was special. It was actually easy. Play the game. So I wish I would have known that because I would have did more.
Oh, now what about your peers? Well, now we're talking sports and you're in high school. Does it matter if your peers take their education seriously, or does it not? In order for you to be a good student.
So are you speaking? Did it matter to me then, or does it matter now to kids?
To children now. Well, you can speak to both. Let's speak to both.
It matters. Their image. Oh, it matters even more now because everything is hidden behind the phone. Social media, the glasses, with the remote, very little face-to-face contact. I'm going to hide behind a text. So any embarrassment in public is not wanted at all. So I don't even really want to answer a question because if I'm wrong, everybody's going to see me that I'm wrong.
Mm.
So that has magnified in 2021. Compared to 1991.
Jabbar, I have a provocative question for you.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Do you ever regret going to Ohio State versus Ann Arbor or Lansing?
No.
No.
Jabbar, wrong answer. Usually
Jabbar,
there's no wrong answer on this show.
When do you come to visit in Detroit?
I heard Dennis Rodman say that. If I would have made one of those mistakes that I made in the past or the right things, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. So,
well, that may or may not be true. That may or may not be true.
Jabbar, you're a Detroiter. You can go to Ohio or anywhere you want.
Right. You should have went to Texas or somewhere else. I mean, come on. Ohio? Now, before we conclude the show, is there anything that you would like our audience to know?
Man, specifically, love yourself because everything starts from there. Love yourself, and then you're capable of loving others. And let's look out for our youth. I see them every day, and many of them are lost with no guidance and they're following stars.
Oh. Yes.
And not real stars, you know what I mean? Like the people that's out here working and going to work every day. So they're valuing the wrong things. You need to value your parents. They're putting the food, allowing you to eat. So I think our priorities are with our kids need to be changed, and I think it starts with us. Let's be leaders.
Yep.
So please follow me at Math King Jabbar. I'm on all handles, and I'm here to help.
Jabbar, just know we here in Detroit are very proud of you. And like I said, I have carefully read your bio and all the things. And thank you for everything you do out there. And God bless you and all of yours, man.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome.
Yep.
Dr. T, thank you so much.
You are welcome. So I'm going to give a shout out for that Big Blue School, the Mumford Mustangs, proud alumni here. And I'd like to thank you again for joining our show. And you can tune in each and every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. right on WJZZ Cool TV, and we will see you next week. And we're gonna it's April 1st, which is April Fool's Day,
Yep.
and we're gonna be talking about humor and the importance of using humor to maintain your mental health.
Yep.
And we have a comedian that will be coming in.
Excellent. Looking
All
forward
right.
to it.
See you all next week.
Yep.
Hold on, Jabbar. I still have you on the line with us as we're heading out of the studio. And I actually signed you in on our guest book.
Awesome.
So thank you again for being on our show. We'll probably have you